We got in touch with Bill. We're able to jump on for part 2 of our live stream with him. So we're going to give him a couple minutes to jump on and ask more about his job search journey, finding his current job, what the career acceleration program looks like. So if you were here before, this is a continuation of our part 1 with Bill. We connected offline, so we're able to jump in with him as well. So we're really excited to get Bill back onto this live stream. Looks like there was just a connection error, so we're going to get Bill back on, finish the conversation more about job searching, how he found his job, all of those good things. So if you have questions for Bill about his job search portion, that's what we're here to talk about in part 2 of our live stream as well. So we're going to give him a couple minutes. If you are joining either from the last live stream that we just had or you're new to this, we would love to hear where you're joining from. So feel free to pop your city or country in the chat. And we'll just give him a couple minutes to jump in here. For those as well. And if you want to find more information about what courses are best for you, please feel free to check out our website. And hi, Bill. Welcome back again. We're excited to get into kind of part 2 of our conversation.
Sorry, guys.
That is
like I'm in Florida and I never realized it was so hot. My phone died on me. So
that is totally
I
fine.
had to go inside. No, you're good. I had to go inside the house.
That's a-okay. Well, I'm glad that we could jump on for part 2 because I know this is the part that everybody wants to talk about more. So we kind of got cut off with our last question. So I'm going to jump right back in to your current role. So you're currently landing a role with autonomous robots. Can you tell us about your current role and how your QA skills help you to get into this program, along kind of with your background job, I guess, really pertain to this current role?
Yeah. So again, so like what I took a different route as far as mindset. I was like, well, even if I graduated from QA, but I don't have to specifically narrow myself just to QA. Let me, kind of, expand a little bit. So I wasn't only applying for QA, I was actually using Chat GPT and say, like, what other roles could I land that would be as close as possible to QA, but not QA, because I wanted to broaden my horizon. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand that we're competing, right? But while we're competing, you got to be creative. So I started to expand, and a couple of things. So robotics was one of them. So I began to, apply for different things, but like related within the umbrella of tech, because who knows? At least maybe while QA role open, maybe I won't be able to get a QA role as soon as I graduate. But in the meantime, I could be doing this job here while something opens up. So that's the approach I took. So obviously, I have experience in construction. So what I did was I structured my resume in a way with the help of TripleTen, where I wasn't just narrowly only QA. I kind of like would ask like some advice, maybe chat GPT a little bit. How can I kind of implement it where I can get more creative? And so that's where the robotics came in. I was just applying and applying. And then when I applied for a Viabot, I didn't know what it was. It was just autonomous. But I said, I'm going to use my QA skills as leverage. I'm going to use my QA certificate as leverage. In other words, like if I'm not just going to focus on QA, I'm going to use that as something that could bring the attention. Like, wait a minute, okay, this guy, he's whatever's got experience, but he also has a degree or a course in QA. Interesting. Okay, that might be the guy we're looking for. He's background, he's mechanically inclined, and he also has a little bit of understanding of tech. Well, that's all I needed. I just needed a little bit of this to get into the field. So I always say this, guy, just get your foot in the door. You don't need the door to be open. Just get your foot in the door and then work your way in. So with Viabot, real quick, from the moment I graduated in, I think it was November, and then by, I think, Jennifer, so like by March, I was already getting offers, and then that was one. And so it went back and forth in the beginning. And this is why I say it's important it's not only what your know-how, but also how you approach the person that's interviewing you, because that's another thing too. Your skill set of making people feel comfortable and not acting like you know it all, because we all don't know it all. Just be normal, be yourself. So first interviewer was, I believe, I want to say she was a secretary, but I don't want to be disrespectful because I still don't know what her role is. I just know that she was the doorway into the place. In other words, if she didn't like me, I wasn't going to get to the engineers. So I made great conversation. She asked me questions. I responded. Any question that I didn't know, I didn't act like I knew. I didn't know. I said, that's interesting. I would have to find out more information on that, and just kept it moving and became, very cordial. And then after that, a week later, she scheduled another interview. I didn't know if I was going to get it the next interview. And then the next one was with the engineer. Now, the engineer kind of did grill me a little bit more, not in a bad way. He was just more technical, asking me questions. And luckily, with my transferable skills, I was able to kind of like answer the questions. And that's another thing I wanted to say, guys. Wherever we all come from different backgrounds, you could be a chef, you could be a teacher, you might be already in tech, you might be an accountant, whatever. Just extract from your skill set, transferable skills, and use that. This is all I'm doing. I'm not better than anybody else, more educated or less educated. I'm just using what I have and use it as leverage combined with the QA. So that's what I did. So it took me 3 interviews to finally get to the last engineer that was more technical. And then once I got past him, then they started asking me more questions about the schedule and things like that. So I kind of pretty much felt like I had it in the bag at that point. And then after that, I didn't hear anything else for 3 weeks. I was like, okay, I guess they went with somebody else. I was like, oh man. You know? Then my stock shot down. I was like, oh. I started to feel like, but during that whole process, it's like you got to have whatever belief you have. You have to have faith in yourself before you have faith in anything else. I hate to say it, but the way I think is like I can't even believe in God if I don't have faith in myself. So I have to trust myself, and that if it's for me, it's for me, and if it's not, then the universe has something even better for me around the corner, right? So, long story short, they called me back. Actually, they responded back to me. And actually, I didn't say that job. I got it Indeed. I didn't get it through Prentice, so it was through Indeed. So once they responded, I was like negative thoughts. I'm like, okay, so I already know they responded 3 weeks later, so that means they went with someone else. And all they were saying was, "Hey, Bill, we're still waiting on your referrals to get back to us. That's all we need. We text them, we call them. Can you give them a nudge?" So that's when I was like, okay, no problem. So I called my buddy that worked, me and him worked at the power company, because he's one I put down for referral. And I was like, hey, bro, if like, I know you're busy, but like if you could respond to these people, they said they try to reach you. Oh, no problem. So they did, he did. And then after that, they called me and they was like, we got all the referrals, you're good to go. We gave you the job. They sent me the offer letter. I accepted, and a week later I was in California
That
for
is
training.
such an inspiring story and so exciting. It's such a roller coaster of emotions going from third interview to like not hearing back to be like,
It's
oh,
crazy.
they
Yeah.
gave me a chance.
Yeah. There's no stable, like, I can see from point A to point B. Whoever says that, you're lying. You can't see. When you got into this, like QA, you're coming from something else because you want a change in your life, right? You want transformation. You want something better for yourself, right? So you really can't see what's on the other side because you're going into this blindly. And when I say blind is because the intuition that you're looking at is through the eyes of your heart. You can't see this with your eyes because if you go by your eyes, you're going to say, I'm not qualified for that. They're not going to call me back. I'm not going to get that role. They're looking for 5 years of experience. I hang it up. So you cannot go into this with the mindset of literally looking at things because it's not going to appear like you think. Everything is a mirage in this life, especially in this roller coaster. You have to put on the blinds like a horse that doesn't see anything, and you have to like go literally like blind, fast forward, wake up every day and say, hey, I don't care what's going on today. I know I got ghosted. I know they didn't call me yesterday. I'm going to apply for 20 more jobs today. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to see what roles are related to QA or non-related to QA that I might be able to have an advantage with this piece of paper, because this paper is not just for QA. You can do so many other things. Like if you look behind me right now, the fact that I've learned QA is actually allowed me now to do web design. So because I understand now how Java works, now I'm like, I can do a couple of basic things. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is it's so much broader than just QA. TripleTen gives you the skill set, the packages, but then what it really does for you is for you to go out and explore. So you don't have to be a pathfinder walking behind somebody's path. You can be a trailblazer. And that's what I say. So I'm blazing my own trail. And by the way, I know I work with this company, but I'm investing in myself. What TripleTen has invested in me is so much beyond me getting a job, is that I'm literally building my own brand now, because the tech field is very volatile. Today is up, tomorrow it's like a stock. So you have to prepare yourself and invest in yourself, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm branding myself. And this is what I like about TripleTen, that they gave me the skill set, but for me, I went beyond the job thing. Now I'm at a place where I'm extracting from what I'm learning from TripleTen, but I'm also extracting from where I'm working now. I'm picking up new skills, right? And I'm using that for my own leverage, because tomorrow, if they were to say, hey, you're laid off, I'm good. I'm good because I've picked up enough skills where you don't need to wait on the job. You can go on Fiverr, you can do gigs, you can do all these things. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's so much bigger than just getting a job. But I didn't know that because I went in blindly, right? If I go physically looking at the end goal, it's like, okay, just get a job, hopefully. But it's so much beyond that. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I can ramble on for days and days.
No, I
So,
love it.
sorry.
This is such an inspirational conversation, and like hearing from you and like what your mentality was in this space and going into it and why you wanted to change, I think is really inspiring to hear from me and probably a lot of other people on this call. So we really appreciate there's so many great quotes you pulled out of there that I'm actually going to take with me into the rest of my life that you had said in answering that question. So thank you so much, Bill. I have one last question for you today, and then leaving it on any other thoughts on the table. But what advice would you give to somebody who's watching this and thinking, I'm not sure I can do this, or I don't know if tech is for me, or even TripleTen maybe? What would you say to your past self before you started this program?
I would say, look at some of my posts, and not just me, but like other people. But now that you guys have seen me, I think it goes a long way, because you can put the face to the experience, and then you can go and look at some of my posts and look at me from the first time I posted to where I am now. I'm not, I don't have 10,000, 100,000 followers. I barely got 1,000, right? But what I am learning is, guys, is like, um post your wins. And I'm not saying post your wins like after you graduate and put up your QA degree. No, post your wins like, today I finished my sprint 1. Okay, post it. You know why? Because you never know who's the person that might be influenced. That's a testimony for someone else. You never know who's the person that's having a hard time, that maybe was getting ready to hang it up. So when you post your wins, you post your testimony, and you also, you really don't know who you're helping. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I say. I say that, like, just be yourself, and don't be too hard. Don't be hard. Like, be hard on yourself, but don't be hard on yourself at the same time. That makes sense. Like, in other words, you're gonna make mistake. Okay, pick yourself up, keep it moving. I made a bunch of mistakes while doing the classes, and I probably stressed a lot of coaches, as I was the first one on that Discord. Like, oh man, not this guy again. God. I probably had people hang. You know why? But I was hungry. It didn't matter. I was like, I gotta learn this. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it is. So put your ego to the side. I know we all can't put our problems to the side. We all have problems. I still have problems, right? But put it to the side and keep working towards the end goal. And what's the end goal? In my opinion, the end goal is not just to land a job. You can land a job. That's not going to be an issue. The end goal is for you to rebrand yourself, transform your life. You're here not, maybe we're all here for money. Some, most of our, yeah, 90%, right? But then beyond that, you're gonna find out once you get the money, it's not about the money, because the money's not gonna make you happy. It's about the freedom for you to choose what you want to do in your life. You know what I'm saying? And if you're my age bracket, it's definitely about the freedom. You know what I'm saying? And so, and give yourself the opportunity and forgive yourself also, because if you don't forgive yourself, you bring all that trauma here and then you have all that negative energy and it won't allow you to move forward. So I'm the best example of that. You know, I'm constantly was thinking negative and all these things. But with TripleTen, I just said, you know, I just got with good coaches, good people, career coach, life coach, and lo and behold, I begin to transform myself and begin to believe in myself. You know, that's really the whole thing of everything. You know, and so now, you know, and I don't want to be, because I know I get excited, guys, but I just want to show you those two monitors back there. That's where I started. That's where I graduated. I got two monitors, invested in myself. And now with that, now I'm actually doing, you know, working on a couple of websites for myself. So it's about you investing in yourself, and it's about you taking it to the next level, guys.
Wow, Bill, I can't wait to see you on a TED Talk one day. Like, you're such an inspiring speaker. I would love to talk with you for like 6 more hours, and maybe we can have you on again after a little bit longer in your current role, and we can talk about more of like even inspirational content or just what you're working on and on your side projects. But this has been such an
Yeah,
amazing conversation. Thank you so much for
absolutely.
your time today. Any last comment that you want to leave our watchers on today? Any advice for them in like one sentence?
Yeah, yeah, guys. Just stay hungry, and don't be deterred by the ghosting and all that, because I know there's a lot of people that really they take that to heart. They really do, and they can't get past rejection, because a lot of us been rejected in life. You know what I'm saying? From other bringing all this baggage with us. Just keep moving, guys. I'm telling you, you're gonna make it. If I can make it at 50, you guys that are in your 20s, 30s, not married yet, there's really no excuse. If I can do it, you can do it.
I
That's
love
it.
it. We need to plaster that quote across everything because that is so inspiring. I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today and talk with our followers about your experience with TripleTen. And hopefully we'll see you again in the future for another live stream. I would love to have you on again, and I'll connect with you offline. But thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining. We'll be posting this on our profile, so feel free to go back, watch it when you're in a slump. This is a very motivational conversation. I definitely will be. And have a great rest of your week, everybody. And thank you so much, Bill.
Awesome, guys. Good
Awesome.
luck. Have a
Thank
good weekend.